Chapter 1. A tour of the HV20. Canon's HV20 offers videographers true high-definition acquisition. It uses the HDV 1080i specification, which utilizes 1080 effective scanning lines and shows twice as many frames per second as a standard video camera. This means that an HD image uses 4 times the number of pixels as a standard TV image. The image will be exceptionally crisp and will capture action better. You can set your camera to shoot in HDV or the standard DV format, in widescreen 16:9 formatted images, or in TV standard 4:3, and it records all of this on a standard mini DV videotape. The lens offers a 10 times power zoom, which can be extended an additional 200 times using the digital zoom feature. The digital zoom can be useful at times when you just can't get close enough to your subject, but as a general rule, it's best to stay away from any digital zoom because it tends to degrade the image. You may not notice a difference on your camera's viewfinder or LCD, but when viewing footage on a larger monitor, you may not like what you see. It's always best to move closer to your subject or try to use the optical zoom only. For comparison's sake, we shot this image first at the maximum optical level of 10 times, and then with the digital zoom at its highest setting of 200 times. In this case, we're able to get much closer to the image of the glacier off the coast of Alaska, but as you can see, the quality of the image isn't very good. We recommend using your digital zoom sparingly, and we recommend that you always use a tripod with any zoom feature. A tripod is a great way to ensure that your camera is safe and your image will be as stable as possible. For even greater control over the stability of your camera, you can also use the remote control that came with your camera. Manipulating your camera remotely means that it won't shake when you press the record or zoom buttons. The HV20 gives you 2 displays to view your scene and review your footage: the viewfinder and the LCD screen. Beside the viewfinder, you'll find a lever to adjust the image to suit your eyes. The viewfinder and the LCD monitor display the same information. Both monitors display their images in full color. In either monitor, you'll find pertinent information about the scene you're shooting. For example, this icon lets you know that you're shooting in HDV format, and this icon tells you the image stabilizer is active. When you're reviewing still images, which can be saved to a mini SD card, you can see a histogram here. A histogram is a graphical representation of the areas of light and dark across the scene. The left side represents the dark areas of the scene, while the right side shows the brighter portions. The length of the peaks in a histogram tell you how much of the scene can be found at a particular brightness level. When a scene is too bright, most of the readings will show on the right side. When the scene is too dark, most of the readings will show on the left side. The danger is that if part of your image is either too bright or too dark, the camera won't be able to reproduce the image with enough detail and color. Ideally, you'd like to see a histogram with peaks near the center of the graph. It's important to know how to read a histogram, but don't worry too much about what a histogram shows you. It's merely a guide to the brightness level in your scene. It's up to you to decide if the conditions you see through the lens are the ones you're hoping for. Now back to the tour. We were talking about your camera's 2 displays. Many videographers may prefer the viewfinder because it cuts down on the amount of light that can be reflected on the image, which changes the look of the image being displayed. However, the LCD monitor, being much larger, shows greater detail. The choice is yours. However, be aware that using the LCD monitor too often will drain your camera's battery faster. It's best to use it occasionally to check composition. If you're able, you can connect your camera to an external monitor to help you set your scene with greater detail. The camera's stereo microphone is housed here on top of the camera. Behind the microphone, under this housing, you'll find the camera's advanced accessory shoe. Here you can attach accessories that will enhance the video or audio recording capabilities of your camcorder. Beside the accessory shoe, you'll find the power switch, which allows you to place the camera into record mode or play mode, or turn the camera off. Above the power switch, you'll find the photo button. Press this while you're in record mode to take a still image, which is then stored on a mini SD card. The size of this still image changes depending on the shooting mode your camera is in. When you're shooting in standard DV mode, the image will be about 640 by 480 pixels. When you're shooting in HDV mode, A still image can be as large as 1920 by 1080 pixels. You can change the quality settings of the images you'll record in a menu, which we'll show you a little later on. On the front of the camera, beside the lens, you'll see a flash. This can be set to go off when you take a still image to add extra light to your shot. I'll show you how to change flash settings later on. Above the photo button is the zoom lever. This allows you to zoom into or out of a scene. Beside the microphone, you'll find the open eject lever. Slide the lever over and pull the tape housing out. The tape will eject from inside the camera. Place a new tape in the camera, push the cassette compartment closed, and when the compartment has finished moving, close the housing. On the right side of the camera, you'll find two switches. This is the mode switch. If you'd rather leave it up to the camera to decide the best settings for your videography and photography, you can place the switch in the auto position. This gives you the ability to start shooting right away without worrying about things like focus, exposure, white balance, and other settings. When auto is selected, this icon appears in the display, and when you press the function button, located at the rear of the camera, most of the menu items will be grayed out. This means that you won't be able to change certain settings while you're in auto mode. If you prefer, you can take control of your camera's settings by setting the switch to P or program mode. Now the camera settings will be set according to the selection you make in the function menus. We'll talk about the various settings that are available through the function menu a little later on.